Hey guys, Marsengan here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so we finally have the EZA for the free-to-play LR BABADI and MAJIN VEGETA, the flagship free-to-play unit of the 8th anniversary. Finally have their EZA available in the game. So Extreme Z area, very easy. There's a lot of units you can use, both free-to-play and summonable, that make it quite easy to do, including the Hercule that got his EZA as well, because his physical has type advantage, right? I got his one done first, and then we absolutely breezed through this one. So we're going to go ahead and check out our boy here. Now, straight away, you can see I'm using him on the Piccolo Jr. team. One thing about this guy, very much like the Super Buu that released for Global before the anniversary, he does not actually have a 200% lead in the game as of right now. However, I do think this team is quite a big boost for him. Remember that the Golden Week units weren't out on JP when the anniversary happened, but this guy is on the Junior leader skill. He is an extreme support unit, but because Piccolo Jr.'s leader skill partially includes gifted warriors, it means there are a lot of Vegetas on his team. So we've brought the MAJIN Vegeta here, so that obviously once we get the exchange or standby into MAJIN Vegeta with this card, then obviously we will be able to have a link partner for him. Now, they are a free-to-play unit. They have Shattering the Limit, so obviously they don't share every link with the Int MAJIN Vegeta once he standbys. And then, of course, BABADI himself, not exactly a unit with a ton of really good links, but, you know, he'll do okay on this team. So his leader skill is Inhuman Deeds 120, so not bad for free-to-play, right? If he can definitely be, if you are a free-to-play player, Inhuman Deeds doesn't have a lot of leaders as it is anyway, and a lot of them are summonable LRs. So if you wanted to run an Inhuman Deeds team for something, then obviously he can be decent as a leader. His 12 key super, he greatly raises defense for 1 turn, does colossal damage, high chance to seal. It's annoying that they're still doing that, right? I remember when Bardock, Super Saiyan 3 Bardock, had a chance to seal, and then they got rid of it with his EZA, so a little bit annoying, especially because there aren't even really that many events where you can seal anymore, but it is what it is. And then his 18 key greatly raises attack and defense for 1 turn, mega colossal, and a high chance to stun. Then when we take a look at his passive, he has key 3, attack and defense 140%, extreme class allies attack and defense 30%. He has a high chance to dodge if there is a super class enemy, and then he has a 10% crit chance for extreme allies and an additional attack and defense 40% for himself when performing a super, and an additional key 2 if there is an extreme class ally. So I've gone for the full dodge build because, you know, a lot of the hardest events in the game at the moment are against extreme class enemies, so he's not going to get that dodge from his passive. And then once you switch into the standby, Vegeta, very much like the Buu duo, is a defensive unit, right? Can't attack. So, you know, he's not a unit that you want to focus on attack with. Now, I've bought this guy because he is the barber shop int unit, supports extreme int, so, well, supports int types. So, funnily enough, this build, we have a lot of int units. So I feel like he could be all right on this team, but I guess we're going to see, right? I mean, he's not exactly, the barbershop EZAs weren't exactly the craziest units, but let's go ahead and do this. So we can get the almost 24 key here for you, which is good. And then I think you have to pick up int units specifically to get a buff, right? Additional attack and defense 10% for int. Yeah, he needs 3 orbs to give extra support. But yeah, we can get decent orbs for him so that he gets a bit of a boost. And then yeah, let's see how this plays out here. So Piccolo Jr. in slot 1, obviously very strong unit anyway, but now he's getting the support from BABADI, which is why I think this team is definitely a good spot for him, because Piccolo Jr. is a very powerful unit anyway, right? And so getting the extra support from the BABADI is pretty good. So 6.2 on the first turn. Now, I feel like this is a little bit inflated because there are probably a lot of events where you're not going to be able to get away with running the Int Dabura. And there's the dodge from the hidden potential because, you know, we're fighting an extreme class enemy. Yeah, not bad for a first turn, I have to say. So we're going to get you floated off here now so we can get you around onto the rotation with the Barbady here. I brought Piccolo on the team just for the Scouter effect. They only share Fierce Battle with Piccolo Jr., which is a little bit unfortunate. I think it's probably the issue, like Piccolo Jr. having the Dragon Ball Saga links as well as links like Big Bad Bosses. It means he doesn't link up super well with other Piccolo units, which is unfortunate. Because, you know, we've always wanted differently named Piccolo units in the game so that they can link together. And then we get a Piccolo Jr. that's actually usable, and he basically shares no links with other Piccolos, which, again, as I say, is unfortunate, but it is what it is. What are you going to do? So, obviously, he still is a crazy unit. I mean, only Fierce Battle active, and the additional super breaking over 8 mil attack. So, very, very good. And here we have the free-to-play cooler from the Worldwide Celebration. He actually shares 4 links with Barbady as well. That's one of the main reasons why I brought him on the team. But he is also a Terrifying Conqueror's support unit. So he is getting, or is giving support to Barbady and Piccolo here. So definitely very good. We'll go ahead and grab these. What is his defense actually start of turn? I didn't look last time. So 242. And then remember, he greatly raises on super. So he's going up to around 350. If he gets an additional, then obviously he would be over like 400k. But the reason why I didn't go full additional for him is because he's not a unit that we want to do damage on the team. A lot of the time, I mean, this is a showcase, right? So I'm keeping him in slot, like on rotation. Normally, if I was going to use him on this team as a support unit, which I think is a viable option considering how good he is for Piccolo Jr., I would be using him as a floating unit. Oh, look at the goat dodging the super. Let's go. I'd be using him as a floating unit. So his only role on the team is to provide support and not die in slot 3, which is why I gave him full dodge. And of course, if we do end up getting more events where we fight super type enemies, he's going to have that full dodge plus the dodge in his passive. And so ideally, he's just not taking any hits, right? Now, the only downside to that is, of course, when you do exchange into the, or standby into Majin Vegeta, regardless of which of the super attacks you decide to go for, you know, you always are going to have the less damage probability, because you're not going to be getting crits if you've gone full dodge. I did give him, I think, a little bit of both, but in fact, let me just double check. What did I actually... So I brought it up on screen briefly because he's got, what, 29 dodge? And then, yeah, he has 3 crit and 8 additional. Basically, those are just from the extra effects for the skill orbs that I gave him to give him more dodge. So he does have a little bit. He has a 16% chance to do an additional that could be a super. So let's do... Oh, this is actually a good rotation for... Oh, of course that dropped like that. I was going to say we could actually get 3 int orbs for Deborah and give extra support to Piccolo Jr. But, of course... the orbs did not drop down that way. So let's go ahead and do this. Now, I think on the next turn, what is the standby condition? I believe it is turn 4 for Barbady. So if I think we got the perfect starting setup, actually, so that now the turn where his standby is going to be available is the turn where we floated off Majin Vegeta, and then they're going to be together. So look at that. Basically double digits from type disadvantage. Good old Piccolo Jr. My Piccolo Jr. is only 55% as well, by the way. The friend one is Rainbow, so actually I don't know which one this was on rotation. It was the friend one. But yeah, he's going to come back on the Worldwide Download Celebration banners. Very much looking forward to pulling dupes for him and the 23rd World Tournament Goku, because they are both fantastic units, easily 2 of the best TURs on Global. I think they're both, what, top 3, right? It's them and then Physical Godku, so... Very, very good. But now we should have the exchange, yep, so, or standby. I keep calling it an exchange because they transform into another unit, but I need to stop doing that. But yeah, let me just show you guys here. He's not going to be able to attack, so we can stand by him straight away. Can be activated from the 4th turn, and that's just it. There's no other restriction, so 4th turn. Pretty good for the restriction, right? Because you can use it whenever. So let's go ahead and actually play the standby. In fact, let me turn the volume up a little bit first. And then here we go.
Your body and mind are mine now.
And that frame's so funny to me. His mouth is so big. Alright, there we go. So we exchange or standby into Majin Vegeta. So now that we are Majin Vegeta, we can't attack. And then we get key 3, defense 150, additional 100% defense when receiving an attack if we got 12 key, damage reduction of 40% when receiving an attack if we got 15 key, and recovers 10% HP at the end of the turn if we got 18 key. And then you get a 300% attack boost when you launch the finish ability. So the problem that this guy has, and we're going to kind of maybe see it here, is that he's in slot 1. He needs to get hit once to get that defense buff and the damage reduction. So if the first attack of this turn is a super, he will still take damage, right? Like, unlike the Boo duo when they go into their standby, like, he doesn't have guard. Like, I feel like that would have been a great addition, right? Even if they kept his passive the way it is, where he does have to get hit once to get all those other boosts, why didn't they give him guard? Because he only has 168k defense here. So there is a possibility, if this first attack of the turn is a super, then we just die. So we've got the 4 links here now with this Vegeta. Of course, I sacrificed the orbs for the standby, so he can't get the 6 orbs here. But I mean, it doesn't matter, right? Because he's just going to kill anyway. But yeah, let's see what happens if we... Because when he gets hit on this turn, we have no support. So the 100% defense, he's going to go up to over 300k and then have 40% damage reduction. But if the first attack of the turn is a super attack, then we die now. So there you go. We take a normal hit, double digits, and now we have extra defense and the damage reduction. I actually quite like that as the message that comes up when he won't attack. He won't obey BABADI, so he won't attack because he won't obey BABADI. That's kind of a cool, like, in-game reason why the unit doesn't attack. I think that's actually pretty cool. And then Majin Vegeta here didn't get the crit, so he didn't finish him off. But he comes in with the additional and then finishes him off. So basically now we have the option, of course, the 2 different animations. I'm going to get both of them in the video here. So I think the easiest way to do that is probably just going to be to not get enough orbs on this turn to have the attack ready to go, and then on the turn where he's on rotation, that means I'll use it when it's under the full charge, and then I'll reset and then obviously not use it, potentially pick up orbs with a different unit. I need to make sure I'm not getting it though, so yeah, let's do this. Now the big thing, of course, is the animations for the standby. The Majin Vegeta one is by far the best one. It looks super cool, but of course, because of the way standby abilities work, the Majin Vegeta one is always going to do less damage because it's the standby not fully charged, which kind of sucks. And it has a lower attack modifier, I believe, as well. So the difference in damage will be pretty significant. I did mention this in a previous video. Like, I feel like I'm not going to use this unit a ton, but if I do use them as a floating support unit, and I do ever decide to use the standby, because they are only on the team to be a support unit, and I didn't bring them for the standby to be like the ultimate event finisher, I probably will just always fire it off early, just so I can see the Majin Vegeta animation. So here we go. Now, if we keep him in the middle, yeah, we get 6 links active here. So let's go ahead and see the Majin Vegeta one. So this is the better one, in my opinion, right? So let's go ahead and see this one.
Vegeta, I want their energy.
I refuse. You may have taken my mind and my body, but there's one thing a Saiyan always keeps: his pride!
So remember, keep that in mind, 3.5 million basically with no crit. Now, man, people were so disappointed that they wasted that like voice line and everything on a free-to-play LR that is basically just, yeah, relegated to being like a floating support unit. And then, of course, we go back to being BABADI, so that kind of messes up the rotation with Majin Vegeta, which is why you just wouldn't run them as a main rotation, right? They're a floating support unit, and then the standby is a little bit of a bonus. But let me cut here, and we'll come back and not use the standby. Okay, so we're back now on the turn, exactly how it was previously. Now, one thing I do want to point out as well, they get their standby for 5 turns, like the Boo duo. So if we wanted to, we could continue to charge the standby for longer, right? We get an extra whole rotation for it to come back. So let me do this. Yeah, this did fully charge it. So I kind of want to damage test this here as well. So I'm going to use this now, and then I'm going to reset again, and we'll use it the turn after, the rotation after, and see how much extra damage it does by overcharging it. So remember, we did 3.5 million with no crit last time. So
He's in full power! He's coming out! Majin Buu's coming out!
boo. Okay, so I mean, again, you can see there, like, the damage difference is basically only 1 million. So again, because I'm not going to be using this unit as a damage dealer, if that was the situation where I'm doing 1 million less damage, but I get to see the Majin Vegeta animation, I'm probably just doing the Majin Vegeta one. But anyway, yeah, let's now go, we'll continue on and use the standby on the next rotation. Okay, so we're not using the active skill now, we're just going to keep playing out the rotation. We're going to get as many orbs as we can so we can overcharge the standby by as much as possible, ready for the next rotation when it comes back around, and then we'll be able to use him at the full power. So now we have the extra defense and the damage reduction. How much does he take from this? Double-digit damage. Okay, now obviously this isn't the hardest event in the world, because I think people's biggest complaint about this Majin Vegeta is if you're trading off the ability to attack completely because you're, you know, charging up the thing, they've given him defensive abilities so he can't attack at all, then the unit should be like an almost invincible tank, right? To make up for it. Now, first of all, obviously there's the issue that we talked about where the first hit he takes, he could potentially take a large amount of damage. And then of course there's the possibility, especially because he doesn't have guard, like if we were against the Metal Cooler Core, even after like getting that first hit and getting the extra defense and the damage reduction, the super attack that he takes is, even if he does survive, which would be impressive for an int unit, you know, in and of itself, he is going to take a like big chunk of damage, which is a little bit disappointing. Like I say, when you're completely sacrificing the ability to attack, then a unit should have insane defense. Like you think about a very, very old unit, the TUR Golden Freezer, took double-digit damage from basically everything for years because his attack was incredibly weak, but at least he could still attack, right? So he does more damage than this standby Majin Vegeta, because any small amount of damage is still bigger than 0, and he tanks better than him, as long as he has a HP restriction for his tanking, which is a thing, right? And of course this guy, I guess he does have a restriction because you need to get to a certain level of key for him to even get those abilities in the first place. So if you got really unlucky and got like screwed over by the orb field, then he doesn't even get those abilities. And as I said, you've sacrificed the ability to attack, and you might not even get that extra defense if you've been unlucky and you don't get all the orbs. So, I mean, there definitely are complaints about this guy. I think if I had to make a snap judgment off the top of my head, just off of this one, like, this is obviously my first time using him, doing this initial showcase. If I had to make a snap judgment, I would say he's probably better than the Gohan, Trunks, and Goten that came out last year. Now, obviously, they're a year old, but I mean in terms of how good they are on release, right? I would say it's definitely better, but I think they still have not topped the physical LR Roshi, how good he was on release for the 6th anniversary, and the fact that he was still usable for so long after that because of how good revival abilities are, and obviously built-in dodge. And of course now the other Vegeta, Marjunia, is going to transform. I don't want giant form turns. I want to see my fully charged standby ability. I mean, seeing the Piccolo Junior giant form going off is pretty fun, but yeah, I want my standby. So I'm going to try and save all of these orbs where I can. Of course, now we've kind of flooded the bottom part of the map with the orb field with those AGL orbs, so I'm probably going to have no choice but to use them. I guess we don't have to get supers with this guy, and it does make the turn play out faster if we don't, so maybe I will just do that on his next turn here. But I mean, giant form's obviously very powerful abilities in the game at the moment because of the way they work. with cancelling out super attacks. So if this guy supers us during this turn, or during the entirety of the transformation, it means he can't super us when we come out of the transformation. So there we go. So we are now safe for the turn where we're coming out of this giant mode, which is good. You know, we don't do crazy damage, but you're chipping away at the enemy's HP for free. And, yeah, cancelling out the ability to die on the next turn, essentially. So definitely very good. Although, I mean, you saw how much damage in the against Oceanus the Dabura was taking, right? So kind of shows, again, he's not really a great unit for the team. But, you know, for the sake of the showcase, he's supporting Babadi and Majin Vegeta. He's supporting Piccolo Jr. He supports the Dokkan Fest Majin Vegeta as well. So, I mean, he works quite nicely on the team in theory. So, for easier events, I guess you could make a pretty fun Extreme Int team for Battlefield now with the combination of Piccolo Jr.'s leader skill. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, ideally you probably wouldn't be running the Barbershop EZA Dabura in any actual difficult events. Like, imagine how insanely folded he would get by Metal Cooler Core. But anyway, so hopefully we get the end of the giant form transformation here. I guess there is always the RNG that you get the extra turn, but hopefully we don't get that. Of course we did. Okay. Alright, I'm just going to not super now. I say, and then it's impossible for me to do so. There we go. Because, yeah, I mean, the giant form is one of those things where super good for if we were just actually trying to beat this event with this team for some reason, then getting the extra turns of the giant form is awesome. But we're not here for that. We're here to showcase the Babadi and Majin Vegeta unit. So getting an extra turn of the Piccolo Jr. giant form is not what I was looking for right here. But anyway, we have been overcharging the active skill. We got, what was it, 4.5 million when we did it on the first turn it was available. So it was pretty much like the minimum level of charge that you need. And we got the 4.5. So we'll see how much of a difference that extra turn will have made. And then, of course, we have to remember that we will revert back to Babadi after we've used it as well. So now there's the support memory. Alright, so we'll do this. Keep stacking with you, I guess. And then, yeah, keep getting all these orbs. So we've overcharged by a pretty significant amount at this point. I wish there's a thing on the private server that I wish they would just put into the actual game, where it actually tells you on the charge counter how many orbs you've picked up. Which obviously, if you did want to do the thing where you don't actually get the full charge and you just get Majin Vegeta's animation, you could actually, you know, perfectly keep count and get one less orb than what you need. Because I think, is it 29 and then 30 you get the Boo one? So, but anyway, so we've overcharged it quite a bit. This is a really bad rotation now, though. But let's go ahead and fire this off here now with this extra charge. And see how we go. I guess, am I going to leave Babadi in the middle? I could have picked up orbs with Majin Vegeta, but... So we got 4.5 when we used it straight away. And now by waiting one extra rotation. Sadly, all the orbs picked up by the giant form Piccolo Jr. don't count, but... So it was basically another million on top, which... I mean, I guess it depends. It's like, do you want to keep the Majin Vegeta there as the the potential tank, or do you just want to revert back to Babadi straight away in order to get the support? But then, I mean, look how this has now completely messed us up. Like, there's no way we survive this turn now, I don't think. We can't get the orbs for Majin Vegeta, which is why, like, bringing a Majin Vegeta on the team to link up with this guy once he uses the exchange or standby is probably a waste of time. Because then you also get into situations like this, right? And obviously this team as well, there are 1 or 2 units you can run that have trunks in the name, but none of them are very good. So, there's the dodge. Oh, look at this dude. Okay. Considering how much damage he took from that normal attack, imagine how much we actually would have taken if that super had connected. So, but yeah, there you go. I mean, the Babadi unit himself, pretty decent. Nothing too crazy. definitely going to be used, if at all, as a third slot floating support unit. The standby is just kind of a nice little icing on the cake. And, you know, we got to see the damage numbers firsthand. You're not really doing a crazy amount of extra damage if you're just going for the Majin Vegeta animation. So since I prefer that animation significantly, I will probably only ever use that one. But let's see how you tank here. You don't have the craziest defense in slot 1, but you are taking an attack first. So you are going to get your defense up. And then we get the int orbs with Dabura as well, so extra support. Let's just see Piccolo Jr. cook here. So how much is he taking from this? 280k. I mean, that's pretty good considering it's before he attacks and then gets a ton of extra defense. But yeah, Piccolo Jr., absolute beast. So anyway, let me know what you guys think of Babadi and Majin Vegeta down below in the comment section. Certainly an interesting unit. It'd be cool if we get a 200% team in the future that covers all of the Boo units, but also features them as well. Because obviously some of the links they get active would be quite good, especially if we got like an actual good new Dabura as well. Could be quite an interesting team, but I guess we'll see how that develops in the future. But I mean, overall, not the worst unit ever, but nothing too crazy. How much do you take? Ooh. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. So yeah, that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Oh, you know what? We have to do this. We have to get this in here as we're doing the outro, right? So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one. That black and white flash looks so good.